This video is sponsored by Skillshare. You probably spent a fortune on the gifts on the new year, if especially when the week before that in the Christmas. How do I know that? Well, Americans on average spend over $1,000 on the gifts, goodies, and travel. That might not look with a fortune, but when you look at the other data that says 60% of the Americans can't cover unexpected $1,000 bills, it gets sad because emergency happens and they are full of the surprises. It might be unexpected doctor visits, your car breaks down, or something else that could prevent you from living your normal life. There is nothing wrong about buying gifts and having fun, but whether your holiday spending keeps going up year after year, while we stop saving and getting into the debt more and more, it starts getting scary. So here in this video, we are going to take a look at where exactly your money should go once you get paid. That steps should take once you receive the paycheck, so that when you're faced with unexpected thousand bills again, you don't have to get into the debt because you have been planning your cash flow pretty well. Uh, Allocate your necessities. The first things you should do is to have a list of your necessities. That are the things you literally can't live without. Your house, groceries, transport. Whether you like it or not, you have to pay your bills every month. Otherwise, you will end up in the streets. But there is. But here is the problems. A lot of the people can't differentiate between their needs and wants. Your Starbucks coffee might be important, but it's definitely not a need, but rather a want. The reasons why this is important is that a lot of the people complain that their incomes is not enough. That's why they are living paycheck to paycheck. I'm not gonna argue against that, but are probably underpaid. Maybe not, but that doesn't mean you can't manage your cash a bit more effectively at least, especially if you want to get out of these desperate financial positions. You definitely need to be much more responsible with your paycheck. Denying yourself some of the pleasures might be difficult, but at least you know that you aren't going to broke soon. You don't have to spend every penny in your pocket to make till the next of the month. Second, emergency fund. Once you are done with that, you should start building your emergency fund. A lot of the people would say that you should have at least $1,000 or maybe even a few $1,000 in the case if things go south. And they have the point. That makes sense, but I don't like the complicating things. Your emergency funds should be your saving funds as well. Before you throw me your comments, let me explain why. Here is how I suppose to work. Once you are done with the first steps, you should have the clear idea of how much exactly you need to live decently a month. Take that amount and multiply it by 6. That's your number. That's how much your emergency funds should have at any point. Of course, you can build that fund in a month or two. It might take you an entire year to do that, if not longer. There is an exact percentage of your income you should allocate to that, because it will highly depends on your income. If you hardly making enough to make till the end of the month, you might consider a small percentage, or if you are making much more than you possibly need, then you probably will build your emergency funds faster. So maybe you should not be having an emergency fund at all, because you are hardly making ends meet. That's the point of the saving money. When your baby paid your rent, in this case, you should forget about the funds and focus on the increasing your income first. It might not be easy, but there's the plenty of ways to do that. When you have multiple accounts to save money, it starts consuming a lot of the time, which means you probably won't stick to it. You will do it once or maybe twice, and then you are going to forget about it. That's why I do my best to simplify everything as much as possible. And secondly, there is no point in saving a lot of the money. You're gonna to do something with that money to keep it growing. But let's not get ahead of us. We will talk about it in a moment. Third, entertainment. Now let's move to my favorite part, entertainment. This is the part where you're initially we plan to spend the vast amount of the money, but then you're entertained spendings even exact your rent bill. Come on, be honest about it. How many times did it happen? Probably every single time. No matter how disciplined you think you are going to be, most of you won't be able to spend the entire month without spending on entertainment. It's just a part of our life. Hanging out with the friends, going to the bar at night, or going to the movie with your homies. It's just a part of the modern life. Just a little advice: never ever go into the debt for entertainment, no matter how badly you want that. Borrowing money to have fun is the dumbest financial decisions you will make. You can somehow justify your student debt, mortgage, rent, or any other necessity, but not entertainment. So, for God's sakes, do not disappoint me. Let's try to be a little bit specific. What do we mean with the entertainment? I consider entertainment everything else that not considering as the necessity. That Starbucks coffee causes eating out with friends. That new hobby you bought. But you don't need. Of course, you can break down your spending habits into the little small parts and micromanage it. From my experience, micromanage it doesn't really help unless you are the real nerd. After the few days or maybe even the weeks, you will just dump your plan and start spending randomly. So don't underestimate your entertainment spendings and set realistic amounts. Fourth, investment finally. Invest the rest. Many of you might disagree with me because I am not making investing as the first priority. You might think it should be on the top of the list, and I'm not going to disagree with you. You have got point. But from my experience, I would say that the point of investments when you barely cover your necessities, talking about investings is a lot different than actually putting your money at stake. You invest only when you make enough money after covering your basic bills at least. But enough doesn't mean millions of the dollars, not even hundreds of the thousands. Once you start making a little bit more than you need to make ends meet, and you have some basic savings, you can consider investing. Of course, that might mean working harder or getting the second job or maybe hustling on this side. It's just to be different for everybody, but that's probably the only way. What I would do is focusing on the building the emergency funds first. Because when you invest your money, it's not always easy to quickly liquidate it in the case if things go south, of course. It depends on the nature of your investments, but you don't want to pull out at the wrong time and to make the loss when you were interesting to grow your money. Isn't that the purpose of investing? Fifth, redefine your purpose. However, I would always say, redefine your why. Before you spend even the single penny out of the paycheck, the payday should be the day when you shouldn't be bothering yourself with all of that nonsense. But if you do the revisit your purpose of the savings money or the leaving some cash on the side to invest, you're going to procrastinate and eventually would do it when it's too late. It's easy to blow your money at the beginning of the month once you are paid, since you have been waiting for this moment for the weeks already. I suppose to be the first things you should be doing when you are paid, because it's really difficult to put aside some of your cash when you don't have a clear why in your mind. However, investing isn't like throw your money here and there and boom, your money is growing like a tree. It's a bit more complicated than that. Let's take an example of the stocks market. For outsides, it looks like the world filled with the complicated charts, but each of these charts represents something. I would like to talk about that, but this video has to unfortunately end here, but that doesn't mean that you aren't going to learn more about the stocks market, because this class on the Skillshare is going to teach you all the basics of the stocks market in the simple and the animated way. What is stocks, what's a broker, what is the index funds, why do companies go public in the first place, and a lot of the other cool things. I have taken the entire class a while ago, and I can confident to tell you that it worth your time. Over 24,000 people have these classes, so should you. Skillshare is the online learning community for the creative, where millions comes together to take the next step of their creative journey. Skillshare offers thousands of the inspiring classes for the creative and the curious people on the topics including illustrations, design, photography, videos, freelancing, and more. Make 2020 a year where you explore the new skills depending existence, passions, and get lost in the creativity with the Skillshare's online classes. What you find just might surprise and inspire you. In fact, if you want to make the animated videos such as this, there are plenty of the classes that can teach you that, included this class by a nutshell. Click the link in the description to get 2 free months of the premium memberships and explore your creativity. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.